Hi, welcome back to the workshop for episode 11 of the Firebird build. And having got the fretboard completed in the last episode, this time we're going to turn our attentions back to shaping the centre section of the neck and body. Now if you cast your mind back to when we cut all these profiles in on the centre section, I said I was going to put it aside for a few days and just let it acclimatise and see if any movement happened. Now due to the multi-laminate nature of this neck, I wasn't expecting it to move too much, but you just never know with wood. So now what I need to do is just check for square to make sure there isn't any movement before we go any further. And you'll never guess what? It's moved. But luckily it hasn't moved too much, and as you can see in this shot, it's probably only moved about a mil or 1.5 millimetres. So we can quite easily true that up with a little hand planing. Okay, so with that done, we can now start to think about marking this out and trimming it to shape. Now to start with, I've got the big template here, but I'm only going to really be using this for the body end. So what I'll do is I'll get it kind of lined up at the knot line with where it needs to be, and then we can line that up with the centre line. And I'm just going to mark where this heel end of the body goes there. And I can also mark these areas where the body transitions into the neck. And then for the headstock end, I've made this separate template, which I can just position off the knot line and the centre lines and mark for the headstock that way. Now you might have noticed that there isn't quite enough material there for the full headstock, so what I'll do is I'll trim this little piece out here, and then I'll flip that, I'll glue it on, and then when it's dried I can come back and we can cut the full headstock shape out there. And then all I'll do is just take a straight edge and fill those gaps in. Along the neck. And of course I'll check with my fretboard just to make sure we're leaving enough material, which we are. Quite a lot of the material taken off. It feels a lot more guitar-like now, just in terms of its weight at least. So now what I'm going to do is get the bobbin sander and the disc sander out and just trim these down to the line now with those. I'm not going to route any of this apart from the headstock. But obviously we need to glue a little bit of material on there before we can do that. So I'll get it nearer the shape on the bobbin sander and then we'll see where we are. Okay, so that's starting to look a little bit more like a Firebird now. So my next trick is to just get this little bit of mahogany glued on there, just to make up the extra material we need on the headstock. I'll leave that to dry for a couple of hours and then we can get that cut down and get the headstock routed to shape. Okay, and there it is, all cut out and shaped up. Got to say, I'm quite happy with that. And that headstock shape is really good too. So that's the progress for this section of the build completed. But it's not the complete story for today because of course we've also got the side build that we need to be thinking about. So if we put this to one side, we can have a look at that. So this is the offcut from the blank that we're going to make the ukulele out of. I've done some calculations, I've done some figuring out, and you might just be able to see it on the side profile here. There is actually enough material to do what I want to do. So this will form the face of the neck where the fretboard will go, and I've kind of come off at an angle to make the body. I need to do some calculations to scale everything down to suit this, but that should be some fairly straightforward maths. The scale length of the ukulele is about 65% that of the full-size guitar, but I don't think it's as simple as just scaling everything down 65% because it might not look in proportion. So I need to do some work on there. I need to put a scarf joint in this as well to give me the headstock angle that I need. But none of that's a huge problem. But the one problem I have got is hardware for this thing. The world of the 4-string cigar box guitar has come to my rescue to a certain extent because that will supply some hardware for me, such as a 4-pole piece pickup. My major issue at the moment is a bridge and a tailpiece. Now the main build is going to have a tuner-matic with a stop tailpiece. You can't get those for a 4-string guitar as far as I'm aware. I've looked everywhere, can't see one. I can however get a bridge that would be similar to a Stratocaster hardtail for 4 strings. I'm not sure if that will look right on this build. I'd really like a wraparound tailpiece like you might get on a Les Paul Junior or something like that, but you can't buy them at the size I want. Could potentially make one, I don't know. I'd have to look into that. And I think it's worth bearing in mind that this is a side build, so I don't want to spend loads and loads of time on this one because that will have to come at the expense of the main build. So there might be some compromises to be made there. So if anyone's got any ideas of what I should be doing for the bridge, let me know in the comments below. I'm going to be back in a couple of days' time when we'll be attaching the wings to this. So as always, like if you've liked, subscribe if you haven't already done so, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.